We could have 10 podcast episodes about how different it is between men and women and how arousal and the brain and desire, and it's less complicated for men. Let's be totally for real.
Welcome to Fated to Fabulous, the podcast for women who know that midlife is not the end. It's the beginning of something bold. Let's get into it.
Hi, ladies. Welcome to Fated to Fabulous podcast, where we talk all things midlife, women, and hormones.
We have a doozy today, friends.
Juicy.
Yeah, a juicy topic. We're going to talk about sex.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for many, including me, this is not an easy topic. It's awkward. It feels awkward. It's hard to initiate. You know, I think I come from a generation where it was definitely not discussed with me ever as a young person. But it's so important. So we're going to pick Vicki's brain on all sorts of things sex related in midlife. So Vicki, how do you broach the subject of sexuality with your clients?
So I think I've had to be more comfortable, right? And I'm very comfortable talking. And I try to assess their level of comfort, jump in a little bit gently. But it is an important conversation. When I talk to providers, when I'm teaching about menopause care to providers, so I'm like, you need to be talking to your patients about sex. It is essential. So because really it becomes an issue. And if a provider doesn't offer that conversation, a lot of women, like our generation, is not going to bring it up.
Mm-hmm.
And I see heartbreaking things in my practice, unfortunately. So I see women who come in, so I start off the conversation with, are you having any concerns about sexuality? Are you having vaginal dryness? Are you having pain? Is your sex drive gone? But I go deeper. Are you noticing a decrease in sensation? Is it harder to get to orgasm? Like all of those questions. And then once I start asking those questions, the shoulders go down anyway because they realize I'm comfortable. So it's a safe space for them, if that makes sense. So that's sort of how I broach the conversation. And especially in light of, if you're giving menopause care, you need to be talking to women about this. It's really essential.
Okay. So why in the world does sexuality come up as an issue in menopause? Like, what's going on in our bodies, in our brains, in our lives? Like, what is it?
So many things, right? So if you think about just like the way we're designed, think about back to reproductive years. Do you remember mid-cycle? You're like, hello,
Yeah.
right? Like that's the time. Our bodies are designed that way to be like, make all the babies. And realistically, we're at a space where we don't have the eggs. Like there is no need necessarily physiologically for us to have the drive. But that doesn't mean the show is over. And I say that to women all the time. It does not have to be over, shouldn't be over. Like this can continue to be a really healthy area of your life with the help of probably some hormones. But yeah, so what's happening, right, is the drive goes down. And drive is so complicated. We could have 10 podcast episodes about that and how different it is between men and women and how arousal, and the brain and desire, and it's less complicated for men. Let's be totally for real. Typically, There's the wind is blowing. Ready? So there's, differences in arousal. There's differences in time to orgasm. So there's a lot of kind of complicated parts of that. So when I'm having the conversation with women, I'm asking about dryness, right? And so that is another thing that's happening. Physiologically, as our hormone levels go down, we're having decreased lubrication in the vagina. So you take decreased lubrication, you take decreased elasticity, and then you have a painful encounter. So what happens sometimes, you have that painful encounter, the body goes, hey, I don't like that thing when it comes near me. So the next time you're going to potentially even have spasm when you go to be intimate, right? So then you take those things, decrease hormones in the brain, so less libido, in a woman who's taking care of her elderly parents, teenage children, hasn't slept, and has gained 15 pounds. Doesn't it sound romantic? No.
No.
So there's so many things that are happening. and so many things that are correctable to get that area of their life back to a healthy place. And so one of the conversations I will always have with women too is, are you talking to your partner about that? And that devastates me that it is so taboo. You're not even talking about it with the most
Why?
important person
Why is it
because
taboo?
because they feel shame. Women feel shame about it. That's what I
So
or
it's
so they
shame.
either literally stop being intimate. And I've seen that in multiple women. Or this is worse. They grin and bear it. And I'm like, no, ma'am, we are not having painful sex in 2025. There's no reason.
So why do women feel shame about having the conversation with their partners about sex?
Oh,
Is that
gosh.
societal shame?
That's
That's a
societal.
big,
That's
yeah. But
religion.
I never
That's
thought about it that way. I think about it as being embarrassed.
It might be, but
Yeah.
how similar are embarrassment and shame, right?
Yeah.
And it's going to be different for every woman, but it's just sort of teasing out like it is important because I think what we forget too is that the other person, the partner of these women, they don't know what's going on. If you're not telling them, they don't know. So guess what, men? What are they thinking?
She
She
doesn't love
doesn't love me.
me.
She's not interested. And even if they're not going to say that to you. And so what happens is if you're not having the conversations and the woman's like, oh my gosh, I never want to do this again. And I'm hiding from my husband, right? I'm going to bed earlier. We're building resentment.
Yeah.
And especially if you like your partner and you want to do this next half of
Yeah.
life and really enjoy each other. Kids are out of the house. Don't you want to have sex on the kitchen table? We should be able to if that's what we choose.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So how do you help women in
Mm,
your practice? Like, what are some of the actual treatments that you would
sure.
offer to a woman? And then how do we bridge that for our audience? Like,
Right.
how do we help our audience?
So, dryness, automatic vaginal estrogen. Please take this home with you. Every single woman is a candidate for vaginal estrogen. It
Yes.
is safe. So, having that conversation, teaching them how to appropriately use it. There are other options if the estrogen is irritating to them or we need to try something different. But starting there, talking to them about vaginal moisturizers, liberal use of lubricants. And it depends where the woman is in this journey, right? So if somebody comes to see me and they're perimenopausal, the drive's down a little, they're a little dry. Here we go, his vaginal estrogen, they come back, high five. And it might be that we're also talking about systemic hormones. Maybe we're talking about testosterone and building libido. So it's going to look like maybe a bunch of little pieces together.
So
Uh,
testosterone builds libido?
yeah, testosterone can be super helpful for
Cool.
libido in peri and postmenopause. Yeah.
Cool.
It's like the cherry on the sundae kind
I
of. Yeah.
love it.
So we talk about all of those pieces. And then depending on where she is again, if you are a woman who says, listen, I stopped that activity, literally, we have not had penetrative sex in years, and I really miss it, and I would like to add that part back into our lives, then I say, listen, we've got this. It's going to take a little bit of effort, and it's going to be a team approach. So it's probably going to include a pelvic floor physical therapist. It's definitely going to include a set of vaginal dilators in increasing sizes from Amazon. That's always an interesting
Yeah.
conversation with liberal lubrication and the vaginal estrogen, and just really good communication with your partner. And oftentimes, so it depends again on how far they are in the journey, but there are so many things that can be helpful.
It's funny. I'm going to use you like a chat GPT.
Yeah,
What's a starter sentence that a woman could use with her partner?
that's a great one.
Yeah.
I love you and I miss our intimacy, and I realize that I have been avoiding it, and I want you to know what's happening with me. This is what's happening in my body. And then, I don't know, I mean, Kim, this is exactly why we created a course for partners,
Partners, yes.
because they don't know this. They're not watching Oprah. Let's be
No.
real, right?
No. They
Um,
hear menopause and go, la, la,
yeah.
la, 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 la. Yeah.
So for anybody listening to this who doesn't have access to me as a provider, you're out of state, wherever you are, you go in and you have this conversation with your provider. You say, I want vaginal estrogen. And if they say to you, it's not safe, or I don't do, you are going to ask them for the study that says that, because there isn't one. And then if it's not them, it might need to be that you're finding another provider. You're not broken. Kelly Casperson, MD, gynecologist. Amazing resource. I love her book. I love her podcasts. Highly recommend for the woman who's really in the thick of it with sexuality issues with menopause.
I didn't even know there was such a thing as a urogynecologist. And we actually have one in New Hampshire. And I didn't know that. And she's quite good. So, yeah, that's a whole area of medicine I didn't even know existed.
Yeah, there's so much when it comes to sexuality.
So, as we like to do, we like to have our success story. Right? Do you have a success story in the area of sexuality that you can share?
Yes. It's not one patient. It's the what I see in many, actually, women. So this is typically the woman that has come to me and is tearfully telling me that they haven't been intimate in years. And we've done the things and they've walked through. And I will get a message. Guess what I did? ...
Yeah.
Or they'll come in and say, we did it. We had sex and it was good. And so I'm just waiting because I usually try to make light of it. So I'll say to women, well, I'll know your treatment is working when I get flowers from your husband. I haven't gotten flowers yet, but I'm still waiting. I think it might happen. You never know.
Vicki, that was a fabulous success story of a really juicy topic. We showed how a woman was fated, or women were fated and became fabulous sexually. Keep showing up, ladies. We're here for you. Fated to Fabulous, the podcast for women in midlife. Thanks for spending time with Vicki and I today on Fated to Fabulous, where midlife is just the beginning of your boldest chapter. Until next time, stay fabulous.